Welcome everyone, is bringing you this W3L Network special edition of the toughest tournament in all of professional wrestling. It's 7 Deadly Sins 2018, and for the first time in history, the Worldwide Wrestling League is splitting the tournament across 2 days and 2 locations. So we're here on night 1 in Musselburgh, where we'll see the first 2 rounds of 4 in total, the toughest tournament all of pro wrestling. 4 different rounds, each with separate and unique stipulations. We'll be kicking off with the opening round of 7 Deadly Sins, which is a 7-man over the top rope battle royal. This is the only chance that all 7 men will get to be in the ring at once. The winner of this match receives a bye into the semi-finals, so he will effectively get the rest of the night off. The other 6 participants must wrestle in the next round, and we'll be seeing that after this contest. So all 7 men about to be introduced and come into the ring. This is a very interesting lineup on 7 Deadly Sins. 4 of the participants have done this before. They've been in previous 7 Deadly Sins tournaments. The other 3, they are making their 7 Sins debut, and really I think it favours those that have been around and have competed in it before. But traditionally it's all held on one night, so 4 rounds, 4 different sets of stipulations all in one night. It's a massive gut check. It is the hardest tournament to get through, simply because you're competing potentially 4 times in one night against different stipulations and like. It's really difficult. You don't win 7 Sins, you invariably survive it. This year, of course, being split across 2 locations on 2 days, you do get a break in between rounds 2 and then 3 and 4, of course. So it's going to be interesting to see how this affects people's strategies. They're going to get 24 hours to rest, recover, recuperate. But of course, if they get injured, they're going to have 24 hours of injury to try and heal from, but it's not possibly long enough for it to be able to do that. So it's going to be a real interesting test over the 2 days to see how people cope with this tournament. And we've got a mixture of participants, people old and new faces that I'm sure you're familiar with in WTL, maybe some you're not quite as familiar with. We'll already see tenacious Johnny Lyons in the ring. Interestingly, for all who's been around WTL for a while, this is the very first time he's ever competed in 7 Deadly Sins. Whereas somebody like the very good Mr. Euan Mackie, who we see has reverted to his more traditional form, way forward with us. This is his 4th 7 Deadly Sins tournament. So here's a man who knows what he's doing. Looking sharp as well around his 7 Deadly Sins debut as well. This is a good test for this contest, because you've got 7 participants. All of your opponents are here, and you can potentially feel them out some more. You can maybe get an idea of what they're going to bring to the table. Once the match is over, management will be doing a blind bracketing draw backstage to determine who gets paired off with who, and then the first 2 men will have to then come pretty much straight back out to compete in the first of our 2nd round matches. We will see Craig Stevens returning to W3L for the first time in quite a while. This is only going to be his 2nd 7 Deadly Sins tournament. We see he's been spending his time working his physical fitness, sculpting his physique. But just what will that do for him in this tournament? He's up against some very experienced men, including this man. Continues to be a member of Dicky Divers. I'm sure if you watch wrestling shows on the WTL Network, you'll be familiar with all the stuff that's involved him, and with Taylor Bride, who's also involved in 7 Deadly Sins this year. Will we encounter each other in the tournament? No time will tell, but Divers, he's got a difficult night ahead of him. He petitioned to get into the tournament because, of course, at stake is that main event championship match, Resolution 12 later in the year. But he's going to be challenging for the Wrestling Showdown Championship as well, very, very shortly, from the first ever Wrestling Showdown Championship. It'll be either him or Mike Musso. There's going to be a difficult night ahead of him if he's going to have to compete in 7 Deadly Sins tomorrow in Dunfermline, as well as challenge for the Showdown Championship. I don't know if he's quite got the stamina to get through the tournament and that championship match, but that is mere speculation. This is a Diver's 4th tournament, and he got to the finals last year against, of all people, Blondie Barrett.
WWE star, the legend that is Joe E. Legend.
And here's a man that everybody knows, former W3L heavyweight champion. Now very popular with fans, though he's anything but. And originally, this is his first ever 7 Deadly Sins tournament. He's been everywhere, he's done everything. He wrestled in pretty much every kind of match you could name, but he's never competed in a tournament like 7 Deadly Sins. And it'll be interesting to see what Joey Legend can bring to the table. He has a vast experience over literally everybody else in this tournament. He's extraordinarily versatile, can do a ton of things, but can he get through 4 rounds of action and get that match at resolution? It's a tall order even for him. And when you look at the people he's up against, you can't say Divers, Stevens, Lyons, Mackie, or whoever Looking Sharpness would do. You can't say any of them short. They're all very worthy winners, or potentially worthy winners. But we'll see what happens as the tournament goes on. Again, this is our 8th 7 Deadly Sins tournament. And here comes the man who is tied with Mike Musso for the most appearances in the 7 Sins. This is his 5th appearance. It's Taylor Bryden, former Contingency Plan member. Of course, she's a Divers tournament. I'm still using the plan's music. And he's got one thing in mind, it looks like, he was game face on, and he spotted Divers. He figured this might happen. And are they going to go for each other? Hang on, Bryden comes straight in. Oh, and there's the pellet, and both men are out. Bryden and Divers have tackled each other, and both have hit the floor, and Divers off like a scalded cat. And Ledge trying to get Stevens out. Johnny Lyons is going for the help, and here comes Sharp and Mackie. It's every man for himself, no friends, only foes. But you think you could form an alliance, at least in the early goings. It might be to your benefit. And Sharp and Mackie, have they formed some sort of team? And you can see that Looking Sharp's got a broken nose and he's wearing that face guard. So he's certainly throwing caution to the wind because he needs to protect his face. But all these people running about this match, this could cause him further damage. But he and Mackie seem to be working over Johnny Lyons, trapped in the corner. And there's the breakfast launcher from Mackie. Joey Legend has got Craig Stevens. He's winding up and pokes him right in the eye. Legend, you've got to think, is a favourite to win this battle royal, just due to his experience. I mean, there's probably been more battle royals than anybody else here. Lyon's been on the back foot since this match started. Hang on, ducks a couple of clotheslines and takes down his opponents with a couple of clotheslines of his own. He's got hold of Mackie, he's going to try and eliminate him. And out goes the very good Mr. UNG Mackie. Hang on. And out goes Lyons. Looking Sharp took advantage and Lyons is out. Well, neither of those two men, and Mackie runs off. They're not going to be advancing into semi-finals. Sharp, Stevens and Legend are left, and it looks like Stevens and Sharp are going to eliminate Joey Legend. But he's fighting off both men. In fact, I don't think that Sharp and Stevens' experience together comes close to the amount that Legend has. But it's still 2-on-1. He's about to ram the heads together, and they nail him with a couple of shots to the midsection. That would be good for Looking Sharp if Stevens just had his head rammed into Sharp's nose guard. Let's get a double suplex attempt here. And down goes Joey Legend, that solid W3L ring. And Stevens and Sharp celebrating. You really want to get Legend out quickly as you can. Sharp now just throttling Joey Legend, trying to cut the oxygen out of him. The crowd chanting for Joey Legend as Stevens drops an elbow right to the midsection. But it's 2-on-1 and he's kind of struggling. And it's interesting that an alliance has been formed. It does sometimes happen, but ultimately only one man can win. Imagine if Looking Sharp goes all the way to the semi-finals in his first ever 7 Deadly Sins tournament. Wait a minute, Legend not done yet. And he hits Craig Stevens with DDT. Stevens tried to stay on his feet. And Looking Sharp gets knocked right off his feet and hits the floor. Stevens still hit the canvas. I don't think he's as stunned as he might have been. but Legend's got this match going his way. It's 1-on-1 now. Stevens is reeling. I think Joe Legend is heading for the semi-finals. Stevens is just about out. Wait a minute, looking sharp. Attacks Joey Legend. He's finished. He's not part of this match anymore. But there's no DQs, and wait a minute, out goes Joey Legend. Craig Stevens has eliminated Joey Legend and wins the opening round battle royal. He now receives a bye into the semi-finals tomorrow night. He gets the rest of the night off. Let's go down to the God of the Ring announcers, John Short.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the winner, the man who... You winner, Craig Stevens!
Well, there we have it. Craig Stevens wins the opening round battle royal. He will advance to the semi-finals. Everybody else, we're going to have to come back out in just a moment. WTO management pairing them off as we speak, and we're going to be seeing them competing in round 2, the quarter-finals of wrestling's toughest tournament, 7 Deadly Sins. But our